Yes. So we are live. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining me from. My name is Dumibi, and you are welcome to Parenting with Dumibi. Um, if you are seeing me today or for the first time, honestly, you're very welcome. So today we're going to be talking about work-life balance. And if you check the flyer, it says balancing it all. How as a parent, how do we balance, our life, our families, our kids, our work, and how do we still have that me time? How do we have that time? What do we do? How do we spend it? How do we just I was even talking before I came on board, I was talking with our guest speaker today. I was telling her that my day since morning, he's been up and down. I've not had like 5 minutes to myself. So today she'll be helping us to understand how we can, irrespective of everything we have to do, everything that is on our table, how we can still have that me time, how we can still balance it in order for us not to, just burn out. Because it's easier to just be busy with all of these things. And before you know, you just get burn out. And when you burn out as a parent, what do you do? That's when you're stressed, overwhelmed with everything. That's when we start yelling at our children. That's when we start raising our voice. That's when we start doing those things that usually we would not do, but we just find ourselves doing them because we are stressed, we are pressured. So today, our guest speaker, Alisa Wolf, she'll be helping us to understand how we can balance all of these things, and also helping us to understand that when it comes to balancing work-life balance, I personally feel that our seasons of life also have a role to play, in what we do on daily basis. And by this, I mean, say, for example, a parent or a mother with maybe toddlers, you can't compare her with a parent or a mother that her children are grown. If you have a toddler, you're probably running around, changing nappies, cleaning, tidying, and all of that. So she's going to help us understand how also our seasons of life per time, how we can influence what we do, and how also it can influence how we can balance it all, and how we influence what we do on day-to-day basis. So join me because it promises to be, a very great time. So join me as I make welcome our guest speaker, Alisa Wu. So I'm going to bring her on board. I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, if you can see me, please put it in the comment section. I'm going to bring her on board very quickly. Yeah. So before that, just 1 minute. Let me just quickly share the link to some groups. Okay. I think I'll just probably use my phone. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So before that, very quickly, I would like to tell you just a little bit about Alisa, Alisa Wolf. So Alisa Wolf, after having 5 kids, she's a mother of five. After having 5 kids in 10 years, Alisa went looking for her next challenge and found online business. She is now a take your she is now a take your time back coach for other work from home moms who want to love their work from home and as well as live their life, to the fullest. It helps them spend more time cuddling their kids, less time cleaning up, like we said earlier, less time cleaning up after them. And also she helps them get workouts, help them journal, help them find a hobby and enjoy those things they love doing. they love doing on daily basis. She's able to help them deep work for hours without any, feeling guilt. So, and as well, she helps them scale their businesses up to their revenue and not just their hours. So this is who we have today as our guest speaker. So join me as I make welcome Alisa Wolf to for her wealth of knowledge to us in regards to work-life balance as a parent and as a mom. So yes, I'm bringing her on board now. Yeah, here she is. Hi, Alisa. How are you today?
Good. Hi, Dumabi.
I'm fine. How are you doing? Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah, we are glad to have you on board. Thank you so much for doing this with us, and thank you for your time. We do not take you for granted. And
Thank you
as a
so
mother of
much.
Yeah, as a mother of five, we know that it can be busy. So thank you so much for creating this time for us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dumabi, for the invitation.
You're very welcome. So yes, the floor is all yours now. And yes, I've got my writing pad, so I can't wait for you to dish out everything you have for us tonight. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, the floor is all yours now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
we're going to go over today how to organize your work from home schedule without overwhelm. But I'm not going to do this the productivity way. No 5 a.m. club and just do it mandates for us. We're going to revamp your working mom life the unbusy way, which means a whole lot gentler and way easier to wrap your head around it for you as the working mother. So, let's start off by talking about using breaks to turbocharge your daily work and house and kids schedule. And first, let's ask, are you actually doing enough self care as a mom to matter to your work life balance? Here's how to know if you're actually taking care of yourself enough, because if I know you, you're probably worrying about doing too much self care when really that's the last thing you need to be fussing about. If you are still feeling dry, undernourished, overworked, then you are not getting enough time to yourself. Whether that's movement, scripture time, silence, more food, another cup of coffee, hobby time. The point is, you need more of something in your day to get that less of worry, stress, frazzle, the mommy danger zone, and we're snapping at our kids. I mean, we all know this, but what you don't always know is whether you're allowed to take 2 hours of time off from your work, from your family during the day, or whether you're allowed to eat the special meal that caters to your nutritional needs, not the macaroni and cheese for the kids, or whether you can reserve part of the evening for journaling and getting your thoughts out instead of spending. If you think you would really be helped by 30 minutes of journaling in the evening, go find which half hour would work best on your mental calendar and try it out for a week. Is your gut feeling telling you that what you really need as a woman right now is better nutrition habits during the workday? Well, maybe you need some mommy only snacks and some smoothies that the kids are not allowed to raid. Or what if you're feeling like you really need some time alone with God? Then maybe hobby time and a block of time to chat with your mom friends. And by chat, what I really mean is deep, supportive conversations with each other. Well, all that takes time. So go ahead and block off 3 separate chunks during your day. You don't have to make 90 minutes all in one go. Just 30 minutes in the morning with God, half an hour after lunch, maybe, another half hour after supper later on. And then you could have devotions in the morning. You could have a hobby time, pick me up in the afternoon, and talk with friends before supper. You will fit everything in. It is just 90 minutes. We're not putting it all together. This is how it's okay to take that much time off, quote unquote, from your workload. Okay to not spend all of your evening time with the family. Okay to have food that's reserved for yourself and your nutritional needs. But the only way you will experience that kind of recharge in your self care is if you actually start doing it. So, which one of these examples made you think, well, if only, or I wish? I want you to try that one as your first work life balance experiment. Now, next up, I want you to ask yourself, are you actually committed to enjoying a great working parenthood, or are you just interested in having a good working life? Because those are two different things. And I don't think most working moms realize the difference. You see, being interested in change is usually thought to be enough. You're doing all the things, researching, talking about it, talking up what you're going to do, what the best options for you are, like maybe dithering over whether bumping up your VA's hours is worth it to your bottom line, even though you know your sanity would sure appreciate it, or spending hours on your back-end systems as a business owner when you could just hand that off to an OBM. Maybe you're daydreaming about what your ideal workday would look like, but you're not actually changing anything about your meeting schedule. If you're not out there changing the calendar, outsourcing something different, testing it out, you are still just in the deciding phase. That isn't work-life balance. And deciding, thinking, researching won't actually get you there. You have to stop deciding and start doing. Whether that's shifting your expectations about the problem or seeing what will fix it, just do something, try something. So for our examples, trying something could look like asking your VA for a 30-day trial of more hours. Maybe it's hiring an OBM to set everything up in your business backend for you so you don't have to think about it anymore. Maybe you're changing the session length every time you meet with your clients to 45 minutes to give you enough time to check on your kids in between. Because that out of whack work-life balance isn't going to fix itself. And you will be perpetually thinking that you did do something to realign it just by researching, when actually you only thought about it. And that never counts when it comes to real transformation, because your social media posts are still in your drafts folder instead of the VA's. The OBM contract is still sitting on your mental if only list. Your clients haven't been notified about the new call schedule and why that's a good thing. Now, committing, on the other hand, that's where the real magic happens every single time. So what about you, your family life right now? Are you committed to optimizing your time for money trade? Or are you just right now in the interested phase of making your work-life balance easier and less stressful? I mean, the choice is up to you, but you have to actually get off the fence and decide one way or another, because staying on that fence is a decision in itself. So, another good journaling question: what are you actually committing to fix about your work-life balance today? And not just gripe about how unaligned or how frustrating it's feeling for you. Now, for our next section, I want you to take breaks more often than you're worrying about productivity and checking off your to-do list. This might sound super counterproductive, but you actually do need to be taking breaks in your day, not just cramming more and more onto your priority project list. And if that sounds way too slowed down or just plain non-efficient, listen, you working overtime does not equal a great marketing product or amazing service to your clients or a wonderful mother. It just doesn't, period. I mean, how many times have you sat up till 10 p.m., slogging away at your laptop or trying to clean the kitchen, and then finally closed the computer or gone to bed in frustration only to finish that very same task like 7 minutes the next morning? Ultimately, this comes down to which kind of end product matters most to you. The how much did I get done in a day version, or the what did I show up as my best self for my kids and my clients and my coworkers version. And you get to choose. I mean, literally, you're choosing which of these outcomes you want. This is going to be however you make it, whatever the topmost priority in your life right now is to you, whether that's babies or business, output or input. I can't choose it for you. I wish I could, but I can't. So you have to
Right.
decide for yourself. Yes. Am
That
I
sounds
going to
sweet.
be Mhm. Am I going to be the kind of person, the work from home parent, the CEO mother who goes for her highest output, as in the number of things she crossed off her list at all times? Or am I going to make space for the creative and the family input, for thinking, meditating, rest time, cuddling with my kids, letting my brain just recharge? And then, of course, don't forget making those kid-friendly meals, the kid-friendly meals in the Instapot. See, it's like you have to have both. Family meals, family snuggles, downtime, and crossing a fruit to-do list. Both are essential. Yes to the to-do list, the task list, the chore list that's keeping you on track during the day, but also yes to the downtime, the hobbies, the time with family, the time alone with God that are going to keep you sane and well and happy during this long haul of work scaling plus the little person parenting phase. They're both needed. And letting yourself, as the mom, take breaks is just the practical example of what it means to fully embrace both. So, our next journaling prompt is, what would change about your energy or how the number of breaks you're taking during your workday if you truly allowed yourself to not worry about being uber productive as your top priority during the day? Now, next question I want you to ask yourself is, are you using caffeine to avoid taking care of yourself? Do not fall into this typical mom trap. And here's what you should do instead when you desperately need that productivity boost. See, we've got to stop using another cup of coffee to get through our days. And yes, this is coming from a coffee drinker, not hating on coffee. But what you're doing here is fundamentally overloading your capacity, refusing to cut today's to-dos down to size, and then leaning on caffeine to get you through that task list. So don't stop. That is against the whole point of creating a great work-life balance, because your day is supposed to be manageable without energy drinks and caffeine, not manageable when you're chugging it, which means you need to radically drop your to-do list if you are constantly staying up way too late, finishing the absolutely essential must-get-done list. You need to be able to mentally close down, go to bed on time so you can get up in the morning and not hit the snooze button, because if you can't get up on time, whose fault is that? Yours. I mean,
Yeah,
special
absolutely.
exception if you're nursing a baby at night, but it's your fault for not giving yourself enough sleep. Your actual job is to make sure you are in bed on time, mentally slowed down enough to be able to go to sleep, not racing 60 miles an hour through your kitchen and, okay, there, I've locked myself in bed. That checks the box. You have to let your brain slow down too. So here's the quote you need to remember if you're ever tipping into this caffeine to cope. It's from Lauren Chantay, and she says, don't use caffeine to mask self-care. Because of what you really need is 2 hours off, but you're just chugging another coffee or a soda or energy drink and then forcing yourself to get back up on your feet, you're missing the whole point. You are not just a to-do list crank out machine. Your worth is not measured by your productivity, and your output does not determine the amount of input you get for your free time. It is your energy levels day to day that set all of these things. Well, I mean, not the self-worth part, that's from God, but your productivity capacity, when you need to take a break, how long that break is, that's what your inner metrics should be guiding. So make a promise now, write it down in your journal. I
I
am
promise.
not I am not going to use coffee to keep myself going when what I really need is a nap, a sit down, or a break, and then start living by it. But for today, you can go warm up your cup of coffee or tea or decaf coffee, enjoy it mindfully, and then say, that's enough. I'm not staying up late, because it's time to chop your to-do list and create a far better work-life balance for yourself. And our journaling prompt for this section is, what is the last thing you're going to make yourself push through and check off today before you say, it's enough, I'm turning in for the night? Now, for our next section, I've got something you're forgetting about taking care of yourself as you hit these next levels in your career. Have you been going so hard on your work projects and then taking care of all the kids that you are neglecting yourself, forgetting that you have needs too, and ignoring the very, very basic food, shower, sleep priorities that keep you running as a human? I mean, sometimes we just get so caught up in, well, one more work project and, oh, the kids need this and I don't have time to do that, that we think it's no big deal to skip our own breakfast and then kind of rush through lunch just eating the kids' leftovers if there are any, or spend the supper time rushing around to make sure everyone else's needs are met. You know, more water, refill your sippy cup. Oh, you forgot the ketchup, I need to bring that. Do you need seconds? Should I cut up your food? Where are you getting to eat in all this, you know? And we can practically spend the whole of the family dinner hour taking care of other people's needs while ignoring our own food, our own fuel, our own getting to just sit down in the chair and relax. which then kind of turns into the cycle of leaving you prey to those late night snack cravings that are really due to your body screaming, you didn't feed me enough today. It's not because you're just inherently unhealthy, it's because you didn't get enough fuel. This has to stop because you're going to never run on all cylinders as the corporate mom or the business owner if you keep letting yourselves get to the fumes level on your own nutrition, your own hygiene, your own sleep. The cure is to go back to the basics of taking care of yourself, even if you have to lose some efficiency about your day. Go feed yourself breakfast, make sure you're packing your lunch, get that supper, make sure you're showering, doing your skincare. You know you feel so much better when you do. And please, for the love of everything, go to bed on time so you can wake up
Absolutely.
energized.
Yeah, very necessary.
Yes, not groaning tomorrow morning. Because, see, more often than we'd like to think, the basics are everything. I mean, that's probably why they're called the basics, right? So, where have you been skimping on your workout time, the morning smoothie, protein-heavy lunch, whatever your basic needs are? And what is the easiest way for you to put those back in? And after you think of that, I want you to do something now, even if you haven't earned it yet, you don't feel like you've earned it yet in your stage of career or business. You might be feeling like it's the unspoken rule of your life. Well, moms just don't get to rest until everything is finished, which honestly means never, because you've got the thriving career, successful business to keep up with, plus all of the kids. And what our culture is telling us is that it's bad to sit down in the middle of the day, it's wrong to flop halfway through the morning, and it's lazy to quit before your to-do list is all crossed off. But what I want to ask is, where did we get this idea that rest equals laziness? You're allowed to rest. In fact, you need to. Laziness is not getting out of bed. Laziness is not bothering to clean the house. Laziness is telling your kids to get their own food every single day, every single meal of the week. It is not taking a break because your feet are tired of standing. It is not sitting down with that cup of coffee to sip and just relax and restore your nerves and quiet for 30 minutes with your favorite podcast playing in the background. It is not giving your brain a break by going and playing Legos 20 minutes with your kids before you go back to writing sales pages or client emails. See the difference here? Laziness is when you don't even make an effort to follow through on your priority tasks for the day. Rest is taking breaks or just switching gears as you work your way through that to-do list. So that is why you must include rest in your day as a mom who is a successful business owner or climbing the corporate ladder, because you need that mental time off that only comes when you allow yourself to unplug from the to-do list, quit forcing yourself to cross off just one more thing, and you go with the flow of your own energy reserves. Stop when you need to stop, rest till you're rested up, only get off your feet when you're chafing for action once again, you're bored. It's as simple as that. You stop, you rest, you get back to work only when that mommy battery is reading full again. So where are you pushing too hard in your day? Where have you said, well, there, I gave myself a break, but it was way too short of a break, like a 5 or a 10-minute break? Have you even felt that surge of renewed energy that comes from a fully rested body that's ready to take on the world and the kids once more? If you haven't, I challenge you to rest, whether that's napping, podcast binging, snuggling your kids, until you are so filled up and so energized, you don't want to nap or listen or snuggle anymore. So keep resting until you feel that. Now, finally, for this section, here's the ultimate hack for leveling up your self-care and getting comfortable with it. Because this is one of those don't quit even though it's uncomfortable times. In case you're not quite used to this new level of abundance and taking care of yourself or outsourcing in your career life. And the reason I know this is because your intuition is probably a little bit out of whack right now. You just gave yourself permission to do something fun for yourself during the workday, not 9 hours later, like resting more, having a lighter schedule, and you're actually kind of feeling uncomfortable about it. Maybe if you're working from home, you told yourself you got to light candles every time you're in meetings because you really don't like meetings and you would enjoy having the candle. Maybe you are worried, how much are the candles going to cost? Will my husband think I'm spending too much money? Or perhaps you're drinking coffee or matcha or smoothie every day. In fact, you're drinking one right now. You're just not doing it at the desk. But your kids are kind of giving you the side eye saying, aren't you supposed to be working? Like, why are you outside on the patio? Or you're taking a 30-minute listen to a podcast episode break because you just finished recording a whole bunch of YouTubes to put out on your channel next month.
That's me.
Yes. See, this isn't the case of, oh, I didn't allow enough time to prep supper and I have got to fix this in my schedule right now. Those kinds of scheduling changes, sure, you have to follow through and change them right away. But when you're giving yourself more room to enjoy or to recover, a better work-life balance, even when it's unconventional, those kinds of shifts come with practical changes, like how long you're going to let yourself sip your coffee in the morning, how long you're going to spend doing your devotions or meditating in your room before you come out and start taking care of the kids. Perhaps it's when and where and how often you're going to do your workouts or your exercise classes. Those kinds of changes are either going to feel like a breath of fresh air, or they're going to feel really, really uncomfortable to you because you're not in that mommy martyr mode. But if you're feeling uncomfortable, no, you don't actually get to follow your intuition, as they say, and back off right now. That is not the right call here, because the right call is to keep sinking into the discomfort and keep trying, keep getting yourself used to it. So keep drinking that coffee instead of gulping it. Keep letting yourself meditate 15 minutes first, even if you hear the kids stirring. Keep going on a run on your own instead of letting the kids crawl all over you while you do living room Pilates. So back to you and your journal. What is the hard part for you about giving yourself more space in your new workday schedule? Okay, got it? That one you're not allowed to back out of because your work-life balance coach for today, me, says you have to do it. So what do you need to get used to letting yourself have in your work week? This is going to really change the game for you day to day. Now, for our second section tonight, dealing with the mom guilt as the work-at-home parent, the first thing I want you to do is to stop buying into all the guilt. And there's a good reason for it. It's not just about you, but yes, we'll start with you, because the CEO mom guilt is really like you're kind of paying the price of not knowing if you have enough time to finish your to-do list, the price for staying up too late, like we've been talking about the night before, cramming in more website consults and quotes and work projects because you couldn't finish, the price for dithering over what the exact next right goal on your quarterly to-do list should be, or maybe it's the price of frittering away some precious kid-free time down the social media scroll hole again. See, I think you've already paid too much, but you're still stuck with that miles-long to-do list, especially when you think about getting the next promotion and the workload it entails, or doubling your business revenue. That's the price, and you've already paid so much on it. It's like interest on a debt that keeps accruing till you're snowed under by just the interest payments, or a payday loan that got way too big for you to actually pay off. Not unless you get some sort of supermom energy and then magically clear everything from your to-do list, which never happens, and you're still stuck with that task load again. But you know what? There is a payoff plan for this. It's called getting the work-life balance health. It's not the mean kind. You know, the time management skills, quote unquote, that are served up to you with a slap on the face. Get your weekly VA meeting in order. Use this exact template. Fill out this planner every single day. All the 7-figure business owners swear by it. Alphabetically organize your Google file drives, all your photos of the kids by date, time, your keyword, do it yesterday. Or what, you aren't up at 4:30 in the morning to meditate and work out? Get in gear. I mean, that's the mean kind of productivity. But we as moms, we're done with that route. We don't need that. We need compassion, strategies, the encouragement of good job, you're getting it, just like you would help a baby who's learning to walk for the first time. You'd say, yay, good for you, and they taught her a couple more steps. And you know who else needs you to quit the mean productivity stuff? Your kids. Because they've been paying a price too. The price of a mom who's so stressed she can't walk over to see their latest Lego creation. The price of a mom who yells at them most every day. The price of a mom who constantly gets on them for their chores with zero grace about it. Maybe it's the price of a mom who slaps together meals in a huff and constantly resents every demand their sports practice or dance class is having on her. That's another kind of price, and your kids are paying it. Don't you think it's time they stopped? Isn't it time you gave yourself some of that grace? If you won't create a good work-life balance for yourself, at least do it for your kids. for their memories of what your motherhood was like.
Hmm.
That is why I want you to quit. It's way past time for you to quit on the self-shame about your supposed lack of efficiency. I mean, who cares if your planner isn't pretty? Who cares if your handwriting is almost unreadable? Who cares if you get distracted by the laundry beeping that it's done every Thursday at 1:42 p.m.? Who cares? For me, I'm living the kind of life I can close up shop and go do organizing projects after work because I want to for fun. Yes, I'm one of those tidy people. Not because I have to clean out the coat closet or the swim goggles and I'm cramming it in on a no energy slump because the closets are a disaster and I have to get it done. I want you to have that kind of margin for all the mom organizing projects or pantry restocking or whatever's been on your list. I want you to have that too. So the real question is, are you ready to go get that kind of margin for yourself? And if we are, the next thing we need to deal with is, are you afraid of your primary function at home not being the cleaning and the cooking anymore? Of what happens when you aren't doing all of the housework for your family, even though you might still be working from home? Maybe you're getting cold feet at the idea of outsourcing any of this, even though it would really help your mental load, give you more brain space. You're worried about what your husband or your kids might say to you. Well, in that case, we need to talk because seriously, there is no need for all this work at home mom angst or your existential cleaning crisis. And here's why. It's not your housework per se, it's the family's housework. And it
Our
doesn't
housework. Yeah.
mhm. And it doesn't really matter whether it's you taking out the trash, your husband taking out the trash, your 9-year-old son taking out the trash, or a paid housekeeper taking out the trash, as long as you take out the trash. So if you're afraid of this kind of development, of outsourcing some of the typical mom role, ask yourself whether you would feel the same worry of, oh no, my identity is being taken away if it was your husband doing 2/3 of the cooking because that's always been his hobby. He's like a gourmet chef. Or if your daughter suddenly evinced a desire to bake more and she told you she wanted to do all the breads and desserts for you, would you tell your husband or your daughter that they were not allowed? That even though they loved being in the kitchen and they took such joy in their creations, it was your job to grit your teeth and struggle through the cooking? Before you knee-jerk me no and say, well, no, of course I would let them do it. Just stop and think a bit. Are you actually knee-jerk knowing by refusing to outsource dishes to your kids? Or shower cleaning to your son? Basic veggie food prepping to your daughter? Or maybe letting your husband take the teacher's guide and check the answers for your kids' math homework? I'm serious. Every time you refuse to hand off one particular chore, and it's not because of a safety reason like no sharp knives or you're not using the stove, it's because you have pinned your identity as a mom, as a good mom, on being the one doing it. Stop. In the overall scheme of things, it really doesn't matter if it's your husband changing the nappy or if you do, if he mops the floors or if you do, if your son slices the homemade bread you baked or you do. These are just tasks that need to be done for the family. And often it's in your best interest to have more stuff off your plate because you're needed on other things like work things. So let's apply some logic here. Your son can't run your marketing campaign for you. Your daughter can't talk to the clients for you. Your husband isn't talking to your work manager for you and giving the team presentation. You are the one who has to handle those parts. But your kids could bake the bread with the bread machine. They could slice the loaf. They could assemble the sandwiches for tomorrow's school lunch. They could get their backpacks and coats and boots ready. It's okay that you, as the wife and mother, you aren't even doing the majority of it. It's okay that someone else is helping you with the life part of the work-life balance from working from home, not just helping with the work part. So if there's one thing you need to hear from me today, it's that you have permission to outsource this. So if you are afraid of up-leveling your housework chores, outsourcing some of it, don't be, because a whole world of career creativity and time freedom is waiting for you. All you have to do, for starters, is delegate half the housekeeping chores on your plate. So, journaling prompt. Which half of the housekeeping chores would you love to outsource today? I'll let you find a few bullet points for that. Now,
Like
next
mine
up,
will be cooking.
yes, I'm
Mine
not
will
a
be
fan of cooking either.
definitely.
Next up, Would you like to know the two biggest myths I found about working from home if you still have kids around? And did you believe these two myths when you first started working from home, assuming you do get to be at home? Here is myth number one. If your kids are awake and in the same room with you, you're not allowed to work. Well, as soon as they get up, you feel like you need to close the laptop, quit recording reels. I heard the crib squeak. Gotta go get him. Well, look, your work is not a mental break per se. If someone thinks that working is a break, they don't know anything about what it takes to do your job.
Absolutely.
And the reality of a mom's day is you cannot keep all your eyes on all your kids at every second. And in fact, if your kids are school age and up, you probably don't need to have your eyes on them perpetually. So, in my view, as long as you're breaking up the sibling squabbles, making sure the chores get done, and then keeping an ear out for any major deviations from what they're supposed to be doing for school and chores and whatever, you're actually fine to go off and do some sort of project, like work them. I mean, that's what house cleaning is, by the way. It's a project. You're not usually doing it with the kids literally right next to you when you're mopping or filling the crock pot. It is a chore on your to-do list. It's just on your personal to-do list, not your work list. And you don't feel at all bad for leaving your kids playing in the backyard and cooking supper or folding laundry, right? So why can't you apply this way of thinking to writing your welcome sequence, updating the website, dealing with that project your manager just gave you? Hey kids, I'm working on the laptop in here till lunchtime. No yelling, or everybody goes to their rooms with the door closed and you lose your trampoline break. And then off you go to the webpage, or you open up the WordPress website, you start editing, start sending the emails, easy peasy. And then at lunchtime, you can shut down your laptop, get out the specific food you wanted your kids to eat, and switch to the whole supervised lunch and the kitchen cleanup routine with your family. What's the harm in that? Now, myth number two about working from home is this worry about, oh, I can't upend my kid's schedule so that I can work when my brain is feeling most refreshed. I need to use the leftovers because that's what a good mom does. Well, no. If it doesn't matter to your kids whether they play outside before or after lunch, but it really matters to your on-camera energy, your recording brain, whatever it is, then you definitely get to rearrange your home recess schedule to make it suit your own needs. That's just basic CEO thinking, right? Okay, the kids need an outside break for X length of time. I need to turn on 5 reels or YouTubes, and my brain is freshest at this time. Okay, this is when I'm popping in trampoline games for all. Done. It doesn't have to be this huge, angsty, oh no, what if I'm disrupting my precious kiddos' preferred lunchtime and art time and they never forgive me and they'll need therapy kind of a thing. So go right ahead, swap your errand day, move the grandparent FaceTime 2 hours, stop bathroom cleaning Tuesdays, do it Fridays after supper, whatever you need. And believe me, you will know it doesn't fit. It's the thing that never sits right in your schedule. So what are you going to shift in your work from home schedule, or maybe in your menu planning, so that you're giving the bulk of your brain time hours to the actual heavy lifting tasks on the career and business side? Go make those changes today, because your lead gen, client retention, content creation, project turn-in rate is going to be way easier when you prioritize your freshest work hours instead of saying, oh, but I need to do my food prepping right now. You've got this. You just need permission to tweak it a little. And while we're at it, do you constantly have a mommy ear out for what's going on with your kids, even while you're trying to knock out some work on the laptop? If you're doing this, it's going to majorly bog down your work-life balance, because it's shooting your ability to actually head down focus on today's task list for work. Because since you're a working mom, you need to set up those work time rhythms and boundaries that are going to support you for the long haul, aka that are going to protect your work-life balance no matter what's going on in your job, because you're in this for the next promotion, the next hire, hitting 6 figures, whatever your big goal is, right? So if you're a business owner, we're talking things like consistent client response times, regular content creation hours, notifications going on my phone boundaries. That's probably good for everyone. Reliable marketing and lead gen time blocks going in your schedule every week, just for starters. Because hitting 6 figures in your job or your business getting that satisfaction level of, yes, I checked that off, isn't going to come half distracted, you typing on your phone. You need to be able to focus. So the reframe here is if you have big kids, so say 9 or 10-year-olds, preteens, even teenagers, you don't need to be hovering over them every second. It's perfectly okay if you leave them to their own devices in the morning with standing instructions. Make your bed, eat breakfast, brush your teeth, start your first 3 school subjects, whatever it is. And meanwhile, you're knocking out the launch email series, scripting your next YouTube live, planning your next quarter goals with your VA. That isn't ignoring your kids. That is empowering them. And then you can come along, switch on the mom hat in a couple hours after you're done with that first work time block, take a lunch break with the kids and say, well, how's it going with the science? Do you need any help with that? And you can just let them talk and share and spend time with them over the food. Meanwhile, you are shoveling food down your own gullet because you've got to take care of your own energy needs. And all the cuddly kids are glued to your side because we're moms. And this is what the high-powered version of work-at-home motherhood looks like. This is how you get to those high earning annual revenue totals while still keeping the work-life balance intact. Now, on the other hand, if I see this at the end of your day, I know that you're off track for being a great mom and a thriving career woman or business owner. Because if you've bought into this, if you are constantly fighting that pull of, I've got to tire myself out today, it's going to steal the joy of sitting down when you need a break because you're always telling yourself, oops, I'm not done yet, I'm not allowed to. And it takes away the end goal of, okay, I did my work, now I get to rest, because the only rest you're giving yourself is crashing in bed. And by the way, it's also robbing you of every single ounce of enjoyment with your family because you feel like you're supposed to serve them until you drop. And it's hard not to resent them sometimes for that. Well, newsflash, that is not how you were designed to live. That's not what God wants for you. He rested, right? Remember that from Genesis? So why not allow yourself?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the wrong model. So why not allow yourself to kick back? Take time off every quarter, maybe give yourself a mini break every few hours. I'm going to bet you aren't doing that because you feel like you're not being a good mother or an employee or an entrepreneur when you're resting. You feel like you have this insidious voice in your head guilting you into getting back up and dipping into your energy reserves. It's this false cultural narrative of the only good mom is an overworked one. You know, the mommy martyr thing. So for this part, I want you to go grab your journal again and let's try to bring this to the surface. What triggers you if I say you need to rest? What do you automatically kind of push back on mentally when I suggest that exhaustion does not equal being a good mom? After you write that down, see what you find out. There will be some aha moments that made their way to you via the pen and paper because you're going to find some closely held beliefs, some unconscious guilt trips, or some modeling that you learned from your own parents maybe about the intersection of work and being a good mom. And that's what's really holding you back. Now, here's the real reason why I found it's hard to do something in your everyday working from home mom life. Your brain just wants to pull you back into these same negative thinking patterns, the self-scolding, every time you get something wrong. Every time you're like, I should have done that and I didn't. You're automatically self-sabotaging every time you're building this new habit of a good work-life balance because your brain is just trying to keep the status quo, even if your next level self knows better and knows you need to make this change. But you know how you're going to overcome this? It's by crafting that picture of your new life. Maybe it's a new body, a new habit, whatever it is. This picture, this future you is so compelling, you return to it over and over again, no matter how many times you fall off the wagon along the way. I mean, no, it's not going to be easy to uplevel yourself enough to delegate 80% of your chores or take breaks every time on your cycle every month or limit yourself maybe to a 3-item to-do list. But that's what your actual dream requires. And more than anything else, you want that dream. It's the dream of sitting at your desk, coffee mug in hand, looking over your to-do list and actually being excited to get started at what's on there. Or the dream of pausing work in the morning to kiss your babies as they get up, knowing that you just put in a good 2 hours before they woke up. Now you can switch to mommy mode for the rest of the morning with zero resentment about your task list. It can be the dream of not having to be the toilet scrubber or dishwasher or whatever your top most hated chores are. Maybe it's the cooking. And outsourcing that to someone else, like maybe your older kids, for as long as they're at home. Because empty nester is too long away. You're not waiting till then. Or it could be the dream of flopping down for a break whenever you feel your energy bottoming out and happily, without guilt, scrolling through your phone, checking up on your friends, picking up the next library book you just got for yourself. It's the dream of knocking out that work to-do list day in and day out, which directly translates to more clients, more course students, more buyers, and just lights you up thinking about the transformation they're going to experience from you. Or it's the dream of pulling in your own paycheck on part-time hours, making money, doing what you love with your YouTube channel. That is the dream. So is it worth this? Is it worth the uncomfortableness of admitting you wanted to earn an income and stay home with your babies, even if you're supposed to be fulfilled with just one or the other, career or kids? Is it worth the mental discomfort of not doing every single thing around the house when you were raised by your parents to believe that that was your job as a mother? Is it worth the squirmy feeling of, I can't believe I'm sitting down, I still have work to do, because your energy just plummeted and you know you need a break? And is it worth giving up much of what a typical mom does and believes about herself in order to make an extraordinary impact on the world around you? See, when you're convinced to your core that this is worth it, you're going to find it easy to commit to making changes in your calendar and your schedule and your daily to-do list and how much housework you're putting on yourself. Because the mental work of shifting your identity is always the most uncomfortable part, but only until you decide that there is something on the other side of that identity shift that you need, because that is what you are going to push through to get it. Now, I think it's time for questions, so I will turn it over to you, Dumabi.
Wow, thank you so much. That was very, very impactful. That was so impactful. And the thing is, especially for women, I don't know if you've noticed it, there's this, should I say pride, or there's this bragging of a thing, like you hear mom say, I was awake all night. Oh, I was awake all night. Oh, I slept 2 a.m. and all of that, They feel, I don't know if it's a thing of like competition or something, or a sense of, it's a sense of what, or it makes them feel good, like I'm awake all night, I'm just doing stuff and all that, without us even realizing that most of the time it's not good for our health. It's not good for our mental being and all of that. Honestly, I think that most of the things you said some things, that is related to me, because sometimes I just feel I do too much, especially for my kids, I just want them to be comfortable and fine. I assign responsibilities for them. They can take their food, make their breakfast, they do all of those things. But sometimes again, I just still, that mommy, the mother thing, you just want to make sure everything is all right. There's food, there's all of those things, laundry and all that. But when you ask, what is that thing that you're going to stop doing or you're going to be, assigning, I think it's cooking. Cooking is becoming a major, should I say, I don't want to say stressful. It's becoming a major task for me. It's before I used to enjoy it, but I think because of my workload and everything now, so it's becoming like, well, at the moment, I can't still do without it. But I think I might try to assign it as much as I can instead of me just wanting to, I want to eat, it must be me to cook it. It shouldn't be me. Someone else can as well cook it. It shouldn't be me to cook it all the time. I believe you get what I mean. So
Yes.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing it. When you said it, that was a hit for me, like, yeah, that is me. You're talking to me. So I just thought it. So thank you. Now my question is, um, sorry. Okay. Now, what do you do as a parent? Because the truth is, I'm just trying to be real as much as I can. And also, I'm putting myself in the position of other moms, especially. Sometimes you just have a lot of work to do. Like, okay, say for example, myself, I have content to create, I have videos to produce. I'll first, think about it, create it or like script it, I had to now produce it as a video, the editing part, although I started assigning someone is doing the editing for me now. Because I just realized it was just too much for me. So someone is, and then I need to upload. And the thing is, all of these days, it takes time, and then you have chores as well to do. The kids are there to attend to in terms of their learning, still guiding them in terms of assigning tasks, ensuring that they are doing what you want them to do. But you still need that time to be there to ensure that they are doing what you ask them to do, or to monitor them or guide them. Now the question is, what do you do when all of this, because sometimes I just feel sometimes you can't just help it. I don't know if sometimes you just feel like you can't help it. You just have to. Now, what do you do in that regard when it's just too much and it's like a must to do task? What do you do? And then your to-do list is just it's just there, and then you're not even gone half, and the day is already, and all of these things are literally cleaning. You have to do cleaning is important. Your children, putting them to bed is important. Providing lunch, dinner, and all of that is important, isn't it? And then maybe helping them with their homework, and all of these things are important. And you have to do them. And then you don't have enough time to still spare for yourself as a mom. Now, what do you do in this aspect or in this regard when you have just too much on your table, and then you still don't have that 5 minutes time, 10 minutes time? What do you do? How do you do it?
First thing I end up doing is reprioritizing the to-do list. Is there anything that can wait another, say 15 hours, aka overnight? Can you push it off till tomorrow morning? If you have too much to cram in before bed to get yourself that sleep, you can do that really strong yes, no prioritization and only hit the absolute top essentials and say, I'm going to decide what I need to do to fix my schedule later. But does it have to get done before 15 hours from now? And does it have to get done by me? Maybe you can ask your oldest kid to help. Maybe you can ask your husband. Maybe you could call up your mother or a mom friend. Maybe some of it doesn't all have to be handled by you. And then obviously the bigger problem here is the overall schedule of how much is going on the to-do list. So as soon as you have time, or if you are still feeling wound up and anxious about your to-do list, then maybe before bed, you can take a look at everything that's on there and say, does this even have to get done this month? Like, could I push it off just one more month? Get yourself some breathing space. And if it's not 1 month, maybe just 2 weeks or 1 week. So you can create a new, much shorter to-do list for yourself. And then you can start looking at the work hours you have available, or the non-work, but the household care hours, and say, okay, yes, I can fit in that project here, that project here. Here's where work will fit. Here's where the homework help fits. You can ask the teacher, I don't know, could they not turn in their homework for a week? Depends what your schooling situation is. Just to give yourself the breathing room so that you can right-size your schedule and right-size your to-do list, because I don't believe we should be living under that level of frazzle.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe if one of your kids suddenly had to go to the ER, it's going to wreck your schedule for the rest of the day, but not as the norm, not as your everyday weeknight.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was so helpful. And yeah, that was so helpful. And also, what advice would you give to maybe like a single mother that doesn't have maybe help? She's just all by herself with 3 kids, and you know what? To even two couples is hard. How much more just a single mother? So, what advice would you give to to a single mother that that doesn't have help, and maybe her children are still, at that toddler stage? What advice would you give her
Okay,
in
so
terms of life balance? Yes.
so for here, if you've got 3 kids and some of them are still toddlers, I'm going to assume probably your oldest might be school age. A school age kid can definitely help you do things like, grab the laundry or drive the laundry basket over for you. So lean on them doing small parts of your chores for you, like please scrub the potatoes for tonight's supper. Or maybe you want cucumbers. You can tell them to chop the cucumber with a table knife. It's not too sharp, but that's taking one small thing off your plate. You know, maybe you put in the soap and program the buttons in your washing machine, but you make them move the clean, wet laundry to the dryer for you. Just small things. Maybe you can teach them to sweep or to vacuum. So get someone helping you. You can have 4-year-olds or even 3-year-olds picking up some toys. If you're like, well, this is the basket for the blocks, and this is the basket for the trains, this is the one for the dolls. You can help them know, okay, this kind of toy goes here, and assign them some of that daily pickup or evening pickup. Make sure you're multitasking. So take advantage almost of the fact that you don't have a husband around who needs time from you, and say, all right, kids are eating supper. Maybe I'm not sitting down with them. I'm going and getting things for them, but I'm also wiping down all the counters and getting all the school lunches set for tomorrow, whatever they need for the next day. If I had a husband, I'd be sitting down, we'd be having family dinner time conversation. But since I don't, everyone is secure in their chair or their high chair, they're eating food. I can take 7 minutes and run off and do something, or scrub toilets or something like that, you know? And then make sure you're using early bedtimes. A lot of young kids need like 12 hours of sleep. So if they are not napping, that means 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., something like that. If they are napping, yes, you might need to chop off an hour here or there, but give them an early bedtime. I mean, kids usually wake up early anyways, right? So make sure they're in bed by 7 o'clock, or maybe you have a baby in bed by 6:30. That way you feel like the evening is yours. Yes, you might need to spend half of it cleaning up the house or working, but there is no need to keep your kids up, letting them have the run of the house and keep on making more messes and more noise. When you are frazzled, you need a break. You need to feel like there is some grown-up alone time happening here. So use that early bedtime trick, and then as soon as they're school age, start getting them to help you with this tiny, easy chores. You're not telling them, cook meals on the stove for me, you know, but they can do a lot of small things to help you.
Yeah, they can actually, no matter how small they are, they can actually do one of the things. Yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying that. And because of our time, can I still ask just one more question? Is that
Yes.
okay with you? Okay. So what advice, because there are still some parents or some mom especially that they still have this guilt of I'm not doing enough. We mothers, the people often see us as a super mom, superstars, and because it's a nurse, we just want to just keep going, keep going, keep going. And in as much as we know that we are doing so well, we are even stretching ourselves, going beyond our, should I say, our limitations or something, we still have that inner guilt, like we are not doing enough, there's still more to do, I should have done better, I should have done that, I should have done this, especially maybe say their child maybe makes a mistake or something, it's my fault, I should have done it, if I had done it, maybe it shouldn't have happened, and all of that, and then that guilt of still finding me time, like you said, self-care is very important. Laziness is not you giving yourself a break. It's not, that does not mean laziness. Laziness is not you sitting down to tell your child, go and prepare your breakfast. So giving yourself that break, that's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, because from everything you have said, if there's anything that is my take home is you don't have to take the whole me time, you don't have to take it at once, you can just take it bit by bit, so which makes so much sense. So now, how do you help? What advice will you give to that parent who is always feeling guilt, always worry, I'm not doing enough, always wanting to do everything, just hovering around everything that has to do with motherhood? I want to be the best mom in the world. We just want that self-appraise and all of that. What advice will you give them? And how do you help them, take that guilt away and let them know that even the little thing you're doing enough. The little thing you are doing more than enough. Celebrating yourself, giving yourself that tap on your shoulder to say, yes, I'm doing enough, I'm doing well. Praising yourself, not just about your children, your husband, and all of that. You as a mother too. You deserve to be celebrated. You deserve to have your time. So what advice will you give? Yeah, since that should be my last question. Thank you.
Yes, I like the 5 whys exercise here. So as soon as you, as the busy parent, have this thought, the mom guilt, I'm not doing enough. If you can, take out your journal. If not, just do this, in your head or out loud by yourself. Why do I feel like I'm not doing enough? So that's why number 1, write down your answer. Maybe it was something like, I'm not spending enough time with my kids. Okay, why? Why do you feel like you're not spending enough time with your kids? That's why number 2. Maybe your answer is, they keep coming up to me and tapping me on the shoulder and saying, Mommy, come play. So I feel guilty. Okay, why? Number 3. Why do I feel guilty? Well, because yesterday I said no when they said, Mommy, come play. So now I feel like if I don't do it today, they will get a pattern of Mommy isn't around for them. Okay. Why number 4? Why do you feel like if you did it 2 days in a row, that would hurt them? Well, I'm worried that this is the new pattern. This is the new normal. Like, it's not actually the 2 days of not playing with them right when they ask me to that second is bad. I'm concerned about this being a pattern for myself. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Why? Number 5. Why are you concerned this is a pattern? And now we get to the real goal, because now maybe your answer is, well, because I don't actually have time set aside in my day to play with them without a to-do list looming over me. So if I don't stop and interrupt what I'm doing, I will never play with them because I don't have enough time. Now you've gotten to the root of the problem because you asked why 5 times.
Wow. Why feeling I'm not doing enough? Why feeling the guilt, And then why are you having concern is a pattern. Wow, that's so fabulous. Thank you so much, Shalisa. I've really learned a lot from this session. Honestly, thank you so much. It's been very, very impactful. And yes, I hope to bring you again some other time. Thank you so much for, sharing your in-depth knowledge on work-life balance. A lot have been said, and thank you for your time. We do not take it for granted. Thank you so much, and we hope to have you again on board.
Thank you so much, Dima B. It was a
Yeah,
privilege.
yeah, thank you, and yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I don't know what time is it over there
For me, it's 3:30.
in the afternoon.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's 7:30 now over here. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, have a lovely enjoy the rest of your day. Yes, since it's afternoon there. Thank you,
You're so welcome.
and bye. Yeah. So I hope we've all learned one or two things from this live session. Work-life balance. Work-life balance. What is your take home? What have you learned today? For me, you don't have to you don't have to take all your time at once. You don't have to take all your me time at once. You can take them bit by bit. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes there, instead of just taking the whole 1 hour at a go, just take it bit by bit. And another of my take home is that you are resting does not mean you are lazy. Resting, taking your time to rest, self-care, prioritizing your self-care does not mean you're lazy. No, it is just you doing the right thing. And also assign chores, assign things to people. You can't do everything. You are not Jesus Christ. Assign things. And also remember that Jesus Christ himself, he also rested after he created the whole world. It took him how many days? 6 days to create the world. And on the seventh day, he did a very beautiful job. He looked at everything he has done. He said, yes, this is good and beautiful. And on the seventh day, what did he do? He rested. He rested. Rest is very good. Taking out time to rest. There's nothing about, I'm a super mom, I'm awake all night bragging about it. No, there's nothing to brag about it. There's nothing to pride about. I'm awake all night, competing. Oh, I slept 2 a.m., I slept 3 a.m. as a mother. No. Let's look after ourselves. Let's assign things to our children, no matter how young they are. Assign age appropriate tasks to them. They can do it. A 2 years old child should be able to take their nappy, to the bin. They should be able to pick their plates after eating to the kitchen. You shouldn't have to be the one to do everything. And also this guilt of I'm not doing enough. I just want to be the best mom for my children, for myself and all that. The truth is we can't do it all. We can't do it all in as much as we're trying to be the best, yes, which is good. But there are some things your children should be able to do. They should be able to do their age appropriate tasks. A 3 years old child should be able to tidy up their toys. They should be able to pick their toys away after use. You don't have to be the one to, you can guide them, you can encourage them, you can support them, you can join them to do it. But it shouldn't be about you cooking. Imagine the doing everything. It will be too much, cook, do this, do that, and then you still have your own work and all workload to do and all that. It will be too much to you. So I hope you've learned one or two things. For me, I've learned a lot. I have learned a lot, and my take home is I don't need to take all my time at a go, and then assigning tasks. Yes, I do assign tasks to my children. I do assign tasks to them, age appropriate tasks, but especially when it comes to other things, I have to still know that I can't do it all alone. We need to do it together. It's a team. It's a team. I don't want to be a superhero, you know. So I don't know about you. What is your take home? Can you put it in the comment section? And let's do this again. Thank you so much for joining and thank you for doing this with me. And I hope we'll do this again soon. So yes, we've come to the end of this live session, work-life balance. Yeah, and I'll see you again. Yeah, bye.